Hey, what's up, summoners? Welcome back to another Wild Rift video. I'm Innerpeace, and today we're tackling the complete physical itemization guide to take your gameplay to the next level. If you've ever been unsure about which physical items to choose or when to prioritize certain builds, you're in the right place. With so many items, stats, passives, and actives to consider, making the right choice can feel overwhelming. But don't worry, I've got you covered, breaking down everything you need to know about physical items so you can make the best decisions in your matches. If you're also looking to master magic itemization, check out the link to my previous guide in the video description below. And don't forget, we'll be covering tank items and boots in future videos. So, if you want to stay ahead of the curve, hit that subscribe button and let's get started. Guardian Angel grants 40 attack damage and 40 armor, with a unique passive that revives you after taking lethal damage. Upon death, you enter stasis for 4 seconds, then revive with 50% of your base health and 30% of your maximum mana, with a 210-second cooldown. Build Guardian Angel against burst damage or high-threat assassins to get a second chance in fights. Pair it with Ingenious Hunter to lower its cooldown and maximize the resurrection effect in clutch moments. This item works well on champions who dive or are vulnerable to bursts, like assassins, Zed, Kha'Zix, fighters, Vi, Camille, Riven, and marksman, Kai'Sa, Jinx, Senna, letting them re-engage or reposition after being focused. Build Guardian Angel as your second item for optimal survivability. You can delay it based on enemy composition and focus, or skip it entirely if there are no significant threats. Bloodthirster grants 50 attack damage and 25% critical strike chance, along with a passive that provides 12% physical vamp. When above 50% health, you gain 11 to 25 bonus attack damage scaling with level and 10% bonus attack speed. Build Bloodthirster when you need sustain and damage against poke threats. However, if the enemy team has heavy crowd control or burst champions, it's often better to skip it in favor of items like Immortal Shieldbow or Guardian Angel. This item is especially effective on champions like Tristana, Sivir, Draven, Samira, Neela, and Jinx for sustain and damage. For runes, Lethal Tempo boosts attack speed, Conqueror enhances damage and healing, and Bloodline adds more Omnivamp. Bloodthirster works well with crit items, increasing your impact in fights. Blade of the Ruined King provides 25 attack damage, 35% attack speed, and 12% physical vamp. Its passive Ruined Strikes makes basic attacks deal bonus physical damage based on the target's current health. After hitting a champion with 3 attacks or abilities within 2 seconds, it also deals magic damage, slows the target by 25%, and grants you 25% bonus movement speed for 2 seconds with a 60-second cooldown. Ingenious Hunter reduces the cooldown, letting you activate the slow and speed boost more often in fights. Blade of the Ruined King synergizes well with several items to enhance its effectiveness. Pair it with Runnan's Hurricane for additional wave clear and to apply its passive to multiple targets in team fights. Terminus can boost your damage and tankiness, while Nashor's Tooth, Riftmaker, and Wit's End provide extra durability and damage for sustained fights. For example, if the enemy builds Heartsteel, consider rushing Blade of the Ruined King early to counter high-health opponents. It also synergizes well with the Giant Slayer rune, which enhances damage against tanky champions, the Brutal rune, providing bonus adaptive damage on hit against champions, and Lethal Tempo, which increases your attack speed for better sustained damage output. It's particularly effective on champions like Kalista, Twitch, Yone, Warwick, Jax, Kai'Sa, Renekton, and Irelia. Runnan's Hurricane grants 45% attack speed and fires additional bolts at up to 2 nearby enemies with each basic attack, applying on-hit effects at full effectiveness and benefiting from critical strike modifiers. Additionally, it provides adaptive bonus damage and adds 15 bonus physical damage on hit with each attack. Runnan's Hurricane is typically built as a second item to maximize your damage output and team fighting potential. It pairs well with champions who benefit from attack speed and on-hit effects, allowing them to effectively spread damage in skirmishes and team fights. Champions like Kai'Sa, Jinx, Vayne, Twitch, Kalista, Senna, Ashe, and Teemo can all take advantage of this item to enhance their effectiveness. Consider building it after your first item to quickly increase your damage and wave-clearing capabilities. Youmuu's Ghostblade grants 55 attack damage, 15 ability haste, and 15 armor penetration. Its unique passive Slice provides bonus armor penetration, while Momentum allows you to gain stacks of movement speed as you move, expending these stacks with basic attacks. You can stack up to 100 times for a total of 40 bonus movement speed, and expending maximum momentum grants 25% bonus attack speed for 4 seconds. Youmuu's Ghostblade is an excellent item for burst assassins and champions who rely on mobility. It can be built as a first item to enhance roaming potential, especially for champions like Pyke, Zed, and Talon. For extra lane dominance, consider Duskblade of Draktharr, while Youmuu's Ghostblade offers superior map control and mobility. The item's movement speed and attack speed bonuses allow you to engage or disengage quickly, reposition during fights, or chase down fleeing opponents. Youmuu's Ghostblade provides lethality, a stat that reduces the effectiveness of an enemy's armor against your physical attacks, making it particularly effective against squishier champions. It synergizes well with champions like Xinjiao, Zed, Kha'Zix, Rengar, and Vi, as well as Garen, Jhin, Misfortune, Senna, Hecarim, and Wukong. Prioritize this item early if you aim to snowball your lead or apply pressure on the map. Be cautious not to build Youmuu's Ghostblade alongside Deadman's Plate, as they share the same momentum passive. Duskblade of Draktharr grants 55 attack damage and 10 ability haste. Its unique Razor passive provides 18 armor penetration, while the Night Stalker passive enhances your next basic attack against an enemy champion with bonus physical damage, scaling from 60 to 160 based on your level, and a 99% slow for 0.35 seconds with a 10-second cooldown. Takedowns on champions reset this cooldown. Duskblade of Draktharr offers burst damage and takedown resets, making it ideal for early lane dominance. Build it as your first or second item to pressure squishy targets. It pairs well with Ingenious Hunter and Lethality items for high damage and armor penetration. However, Lethality items are less effective against tanks that stack armor, best suited for champions like Rengar, Pyke, Zed, Talon, Jhin, Misfortune, and Senna. Sterak Gage provides 400 health and has several powerful passives. The heavy-handed passive grants bonus attack damage, equal to 50% of your base AD. The Lifeline passive shields you with 75% of your bonus health when you would fall below 35% health, decaying over 3 seconds, with a 90-second cooldown. Additionally, triggering Lifeline increases your size and grants 30% tenacity for 8 seconds through Sterak's Fury. Sterak Gage is a versatile item that can be built on bruisers, AD carries, and assassins for extra survivability and damage. It's especially useful when you need health, damage scaling, and a shield to survive burst damage in extended fights. Champions like Rengar, Wukong, Set, Camille, Darius, Irelia, Riven, and Fiora benefit from Sterak's Gage, providing a solid balance of offense and defense. This item has synergy with items that boost base attack damage and health, such as Sundered Sky and Trinity Force. Additionally, its cooldown can be reduced by the Ingenious Hunter rune. However, remember that Sterak Gage shares the Lifeline passive with Immortal Shieldbow and Mantle of the 12th hour, so only one of these passives can be active at a time. Avoid building them together on the same champion. Sterak Gage is ideal when you want to remain durable in fights while maintaining high damage output. Infinity Edge provides 60 attack damage and 25% critical strike chance. Its unique passive, Infinity, increases critical strike damage by 30%. This is an offensive item that significantly boosts critical strike damage, making it ideal for champions who rely on crits. However, if you're falling behind or getting heavily focused in fights, it's better to prioritize defensive items like Immortal Shieldbow or Guardian Angel for added survivability. Once you're in a more stable position, you can focus on building Infinity Edge to maximize your damage. For champions like Yasuo and Yone, it's ideal as a second or third item when you can easily reach 100% crit chance with just 2 crit items. For crit-based marksmen like Jhin, Sivir, Nilah, Senna, Lucian, Jinx, and Caitlyn, Infinity Edge is best as a third or fourth item once you've achieved around 50% to 75% crit chance. Mortal Reminder provides 30 attack damage, 25% critical strike chance, and offers 2 unique passives. The first, Last Whisper, grants 16% to 33% armor penetration based on the user's level. The second, Sepsis, inflicts 50% grievous wounds on enemy champions for 3 seconds after dealing physical damage to them. Mortal Reminder is essential for countering healing-heavy or tanky enemies, such as Mundo, Aatrox, Soraka, or Malphite, and should be built as a 3rd or 4th item on champions like Jhin, Severe, Lucian, Neela, Senna, and Misfortune. If the enemy has healing but no armor, Chempunk Chainsword is a great option, as it provides healing reduction without the need for armor penetration or crit chance. However, avoid building Mortal Reminder and Chempunk Chainsword together, as both provide healing reduction, making it redundant. If you need armor penetration, slow, and healing reduction, Serylda's Grudge combined with Chempunk Chainsword is the better option, offering armor penetration, a slow, and also healing reduction. Serylda's Grudge provides 40 attack damage, 15 ability haste, and features 2 unique passives. Last Whisper grants 16% to 33% armor penetration, based on level, while Bitter Cold causes your ability damage and empowered attacks to slow affected units by 30% for 1 second. Serylda's Grudge is an excellent item for champions who need armor penetration, a slow effect, and ability haste, making it ideal for kiting and frequent ability usage. It's great for champions like Ezreal, Talon, Zed, Pyke, and Misfortune. The ability haste helps champions like Ezreal spam abilities more often, while the slow from empowered attacks aids in controlling enemies. Build it as a 3rd or 4th item when facing tanky enemies with high armor, or when you need both damage and utility in fights. Chempunk Chainsword provides 45 attack damage, 15 ability haste, and 250 health. Its unique passive, Punishment, inflicts 50% grievous wounds on enemy champions for 3 seconds when you deal physical damage to them. Chempunk Chainsword is a cost-effective bruiser item that can be built at any point in the game. It provides attack damage, ability haste, and health, making it a strong pick, especially against healing champions like Aatrox, Vladimir, or Soraka. Champions like Fiora, Camille, Riven, Lee Sin, Senna, Urgot, Aatrox, or even AD carries and assassins can all benefit from this item. Some pro players even rush it for its strong value and healing reduction. Extra tip: if you need healing reduction early game, consider buying Executioner's Calling, instead of rushing expensive items like Mortal Reminder. Manamune provides 25 attack damage, 20 ability haste, and 300 mana. Its passive generates mana stacks through attacks and abilities, transforming into Muramana once you reach 700 mana. Muramana gives 25 attack damage, 20 ability haste, and 1000 mana, with a passive that increases attack damage by 2% of your maximum mana and refunds 15% of mana spent. Its shock effect adds bonus damage based on current mana to basic attacks and abilities against champions, activating above 20% mana. To maximize the potential of Manamune, start by purchasing Tear of the Goddess early to stack mana using your abilities before buying it. There's a small cooldown after using 3 abilities, so you'll need to wait before you can stack again. However, the Ingenious Hunter rune helps speed up the process by reducing the internal cooldown, allowing you to stack mana faster. Once you reach 700 mana, Manamune will transform into Muramana, boosting your attack damage and providing additional mana. Champions like Senna, Ashe, Ezreal, Lucian, Misfortune, Xayah, and Fiora can effectively utilize this strategy to enhance their damage output and overall effectiveness in fights. The Hextech Black Cleaver provides 400 max health, 40 attack damage, and 20 ability haste. Its Sunder passive reduces an enemy's armor by 6% per physical damage hit, stacking up to 24% for 6 seconds. The Rage passive grants 20 bonus movement speed on physical damage and an additional 40 movement speed when moving toward enemies with max Sunder stacks, though ranged champions only gain half these effects. Hextech Black Cleaver is an excellent option for champions like Darius, Garen, Renekton, Lee Sin, Graves, Set, Riven, Zed, Kha'Zix, Talon, Misfortune, and Senna, who can efficiently apply its passive through their physical damage abilities. It shines when your team has multiple AD damage dealers and the enemy is stacking armor. The item is also valuable if your ADC is behind and needs a damage boost, or if no one else on your team can build it. It's most effective when built after core damage-enhancing items, especially when armor shredding is crucial. Additionally, it synergizes well with other armor penetration items like Mortal Reminder and Serylda Grudge, or lethality items. Avoid building it when your team already has enough armor penetration, or when your champion doesn't benefit from the movement speed bonus or armor reduction stacking. Trinity Force provides 30 attack damage, 25 ability haste, 30% attack speed, and 250 health. Its passive includes Fervor, which grants 5% movement speed, and Spellblade, which causes your next basic attack after using an ability to deal bonus physical damage equal to 200% of your base attack damage, with a 1.5-second cooldown. The damage is halved against structures. Additionally, Valor grants bonus movement speed for 2 seconds after a basic attack on hit, with melee champions gaining 20 bonus movement speed and ranged champions gaining 10. Killing a unit increases this bonus to 60 for melee and 30 for ranged champions, and the bonuses do not stack. Trinity Force is an ideal item when you need a mix of damage, ability haste, attack speed, and survivability, especially for champions who can auto-attack between abilities. It works best on champions who can frequently trigger the Spellblade passive, which boosts their damage after using an ability. This item also grants bonus movement speed, making it a great pick for champions that benefit from increased mobility in teamfights and split pushing. It should be built when your champion benefits from both additional damage and enhanced mobility, and when you can consistently trigger the Spellblade effect to maximize its bonus damage. However, Trinity Force should not be built alongside other Spellblade items like Iceborne Gauntlet, Divine Sunderer, or Lich Bane, as they share the same passive and do not stack. Against HP stacking champions, Divine Sunderer is a better option due to its stronger scaling against high health targets. Additionally, after a specific patch, Trinity Force can be built with Black Cleaver for extra movement speed, making it an even stronger choice for champions who rely on both damage and mobility. Trinity Force is ideal for champions like Ezreal, Camille, Riven, Vayne, and Jax, who can frequently auto-attack between abilities. Other champions that can benefit from Trinity Force are mentioned in the caption. Maw of Malmortius grants 55 attack damage, 10 ability haste, and 45 magic resistance. Its unique passive, Demon Bane, allows your attacks and abilities against champions to generate a shield that absorbs magic damage equal to 20% of the physical damage dealt, stacking from 60 to 400 based on your level. This item is a versatile defensive option for champions who rely on physical damage and need protection against burst magic damage. It is best built when facing AP-heavy teams or against champions with high burst potential, such as mages or AP assassins. The scaling magic shield makes it a strong choice for extended trades or surviving sudden bursts in fights. Maw of Malmortius works well not only on bruisers and fighters like Riven, Jax, Camille, Aatrox, and Lee Sin, but also on AD assassins and ADCs. Champions like Zed, Talon, or Senna can also take advantage of its defensive capabilities to survive against magic-heavy threats while maintaining their damage output. Avoid building Maw if the enemy team lacks significant magic damage or if other defensive items like Guardian Angel or Death Stance better suit your champion's needs for physical or hybrid survivability. The Magnetic Blaster enhances attack speed by 35%, critical strike chance by 25%, and grants 5% bonus movement speed. Its unique passive, Power Blitz, charges energized effects 25% faster. When fully energized, your basic attacks deal bonus magic damage scaling from 50 to 120 based on level, gain bonus attack range, 50 for melee champions, and 120 for ranged, and can critically strike. These attacks also bounce to up to 4 nearby enemies within 500 range. The energized effect activates after movement or basic attacks, building up to 100 energy stacks, which are consumed to trigger all energized effects. This item is excellent for champions who rely on attack speed, critical strikes, and mobility. The energized bonus magic damage, extended attack range, and wave clear from bouncing attacks make it highly effective in team fights and for farming. Ideal champions include Caitlyn, Senna, Jhin, Severe, Lucian, and Jinx. Magnetic Blaster is typically built as the second or third item after core attack damage items. It's less effective on champions that prioritize raw attack damage, or lifesteal, or whose builds lack synergy with critical strikes and energized effects. It also synergizes well with other items that have energized effects, such as Stormrazor and Solari Chargeblade, making their energized effects charge 25% faster. Solari Chargeblade provides 20 ability haste, 40% attack speed, and 25% critical strike chance. Its unique passive, Sunburst, generates a stack of radiance for 10 seconds each time you cast an ability, stacking up to 3 times and refreshing with additional casts. Basic attacks that critically strike consume a radiance stack to deal bonus magic damage, ranging from 50 to 92 based on your level, which can also critically strike. This is a versatile item that enhances both attack speed and critical strike potential, making it a strong choice for champions who frequently weave abilities between their attacks. The Sunburst passive adds bonus magic damage to critical strikes, scaling with your level, and rewards champions who can maintain a steady flow of ability casts to maximize radiance stacks. This makes it especially effective in prolonged fights, where its damage output can be consistently leveraged. Ideal for champions like Ezreal, Lucian, Yasuo, or Youmuu, who rely on a mix of ability and critical attack damage, it synergizes well with other crit-based items to amplify sustained damage. Additionally, it has strong synergy with Magnetic Blaster, which charges energized effects faster, and Stormrazor, further enhancing your burst potential. Avoid it if your champion relies heavily on raw attack damage, without frequent ability usage or critical strike synergy. Hextech Stormrazor provides 40 attack damage, 20% attack speed, and 25% critical strike chance. Its energized passive causes your movement and basic attacks to generate energy stacks, which can stack up to 100. At full stacks, your next basic attack consumes all energy to deal bonus magic damage, ranging from 65 to 135 based on your level, and activates all energized effects. The Storm Arrow passive enhances energized attacks by applying a 75% slow for 0.75 seconds and granting 60 bonus movement speed for the same duration. Hextech Stormrazor is a powerful item for champions who rely on critical strikes, attack speed, and mobility. Its energized passive boosts burst damage after moving or attacking, while the Storm Arrow passive provides added mobility and crowd control by slowing enemies and increasing your movement speed. It's especially effective on marksmen like Lucian, Jhin, and Caitlyn, who benefit from both attack speed and critical strike chance. Stormrazor is most effective when built early or mid-game to improve trading, dueling, and wave clear potential. It's particularly useful for champions who poke or kite, as the bonus movement speed allows for better repositioning. The item also synergizes well with other energized effects, such as those from Magnetic Blaster or Solari Chargeblade, as their energized passives can critically strike. This boosts critical strike damage even further, especially with Infinity Edge. Avoid building it if you need a defensive item like Immortal Shieldbow to survive burst damage. Immortal Shieldbow provides 40 attack damage, 15% attack speed, 25% critical strike chance, and 5% physical vamp. Its lifeline passive activates when your health drops below 35%, granting a shield that absorbs 250 to 550 damage, based on level, for 5 seconds, with a 90-second cooldown. The Battle Fuhrer passive grants 8% physical vamp for 8 seconds after lifeline is triggered. Immortal Shieldbow is perfect for crit-based marksmen who need both damage and survivability. The lifeline shield helps you survive burst damage, while Battle Fuhrer boosts sustain in extended fights. Avoid building it with Sterak's Gage or Mantle of the 12th Hour, as only one lifeline passive can be active at a time. The Ingenious Hunter rune can reduce the cooldown of lifeline for more frequent shields. If burst protection isn't a priority, consider items like Stormrazor or Phantom Dancer to enhance mobility, attack speed, and critical strike chance. This item synergizes well with other lifesteal items such as Bloodthirster, Blade of the Ruined King, Gluttonous Greaves Boot, and the Bloodline rune. Additionally, the healing from these sources can be further amplified with Spirit Visage. This item is mostly used by champions like Yasuo, Youmuu, Nilah, Samira, Zeri, Jinx, Caitlyn, Irelia, Sivir, Ashe, and others who rely on critical strikes and benefit from both survivability and sustained damage. Phantom Dancer is a powerful item designed for champions who rely on consistent auto attacks, offering 25 attack damage, 30% attack speed, and 25% critical strike chance. Its unique Shadow Walk passive grants 5% bonus movement speed, while the Spectral Waltz passive increases mobility and attack speed with each basic attack. Spectral Waltz generates stacks that boost movement speed by 7% and attack speed by 25% once fully stacked, making it an excellent choice for kiting and repositioning in fights. Build Phantom Dancer when you need to improve both your damage output and mobility in extended team fights. Its synergy with attack speed and crit chance items like Blade of the Ruined King allows you to deal sustained damage while maintaining mobility. Phantom Dancer is ideal for champions who need to reposition quickly, outplay enemies, and maximize their DPS during extended engagements. Champions like Tryndamere, Vayne, Ashe, Kai'Sa, Kindred, Twitch, Jinx, and Caitlyn greatly benefit from its combination of damage, attack speed, and enhanced movement, allowing them to excel in both skirmishes and team fights. However, if you're up against burst damage or need extra survivability, consider building Immortal Shieldbow instead of Phantom Dancer. Immortal Shieldbow provides lifesteal, extra attack damage, and a shield that can absorb a portion of incoming damage, making it more suitable for staying alive against burst-heavy opponents. Essence Reaver provides 40 attack damage, 20 ability haste, and 25% critical strike chance. Its passives include Essence Flare, which grants your next damaging ability or empowered attack up to 30% bonus physical damage based on your critical strike rate, with a 4-second cooldown. Basic attacks reduce Essence Flare's cooldown by 1 second, while Mana Siphon restores 3% of your missing mana with each attack. This item is crucial for ability-focused marksmen, boosting both damage and ability uptime. It's especially effective on champions like Lucian, Ezreal, Varus, Sivir, Misfortune, Akshan, Xayah, and Senna, who benefit from the combination of attack damage and ability haste. Essence Flare provides burst damage, while Mana Siphon ensures mana sustainability during extended fights. Essence Reaver pairs well with Ingenious Hunter, which further reduces its cooldown, allowing you to trigger its passive more often. It also synergizes with items like Navori Quickblade, Bloodthirster, and Infinity Edge. For example, Xayah can enhance the damage of her returning feathers, Sivir can boost her first ability's damage, and Misfortune can increase her ultimate's damage by 30% when at full crit chance. Essence Reaver is a top-tier choice for marksmen, enhancing both auto attacks and abilities in team fights. Navori Quickblades provides 45 attack damage, 15 ability haste, and 25% critical strike chance. Its unique passive, Deft Strikes, reduces the cooldown of your basic abilities by 20% whenever you land a critical strike with a basic attack. This item is ideal for champions who combine abilities with auto attacks to maximize damage and utility. The Deft Strikes passive accelerates ability rotations, helping champions reset their basic abilities more frequently. It's typically built as a second or third item, providing a strong mid to late game power spike. Pair this item with other critical strike items like Infinity Edge, Essence Reaver, or Bloodthirster to maximize its potential. It excels on marksmen such as Lucian, Tristana, Xayah, Senna, Neela, and Sivir, who rely on both their abilities and auto attacks to deal consistent damage in fights. The Collector provides 40 attack damage, 25% critical strike chance, and the Killer passive, which grants 10 bonus armor penetration. Its Death and Taxes passive executes enemies if your damage reduces them below 5% of their maximum health. Additionally, champion kills grant 25 bonus gold. This item excels at burst damage and securing kills, making it perfect for champions who thrive on finishing off low health targets. The Death and Taxes passive ensures quick elimination of priority enemies in skirmishes and team fights, while the bonus gold from kills helps accelerate your build and snowball games effectively. The Collector synergizes well with lethality and critical strike items, further amplifying its burst potential. It is especially useful for champions such as Jhin, Graves, Draven, Zed, Rengar, Talon, Senna, Neela, Misfortune, Samira, and others who can take full advantage of its execute effect and armor penetration to secure kills and dominate the game. Wit's End grants 50 magic resistance and 45% attack speed, along with the unique passive at Wit's End, which enhances your basic attacks with 1565 bonus magic damage, scaling with your level. When your health drops below 50%, it also heals you for a portion of the magic damage dealt to enemy champions, 100% for melee champions and 33% for ranged champions. This item is a strong choice for champions who rely on attack speed and need protection against magic damage. Wit's End combines sustained damage, survivability, and scaling power, making it especially effective against AP-heavy teams. The healing effect provides extra durability in critical moments, while the on-hit magic damage ensures consistent value throughout the game. It pairs well with other attack speed-focused items like Blade of the Ruined King, and benefits greatly from the Lethal Tempo rune, boosting attack speed and damage output. Champions like Kayle, Kai'Sa, Vayne, Varus, Yasuo, Yone, Zeri, Teemo, Ashe, Xayah, Irelia, Jax, and Rammus can maximize its potential, excelling in both skirmishes and extended fights. Terminus provides 40 attack damage and 30% attack speed, along with unique passives that enhance both offense and defense. Its Shadow passive adds 35 bonus magic damage to basic attacks, while the Juxtaposition passive alternates between light and dark hits on champions, stacking up to 3 times. Light hits grant 508 bonus armor and magic resistance, while dark hits provide 11% armor and magic penetration per stack, resulting in a total of 1524 bonus resistances and 33% penetration at maximum stacks. Each on-hit effect stacks up to 3 times. The maximum armor and magic penetration rate is capped at 40% when equipped. Terminus is an excellent choice for champions who deal sustained damage and need to break through enemy resistances while also improving their survivability. It's especially effective against teams with high armor or magic resistance, as its passives provide both bonus resistances and penetration. Champions like Vayne, Kalista, Kai'Sa, Varus, Warwick, Zeri, Caitlyn, Tristana, and others who rely on basic attacks can maximize the value of Terminus. The light and dark stacking effects offer strong synergy in prolonged fights, and the added penetration helps you deal more damage in skirmishes and teamfights. Additionally, Terminus works well with other on-hit attack speed items, such as Blade of the Ruined King, and synergizes effectively with the Lethal Tempo rune, further boosting your attack speed and damage output. However, note that Terminus cannot be used in combination with Mortal Reminder or Serylda's Grudge, so plan your item build accordingly. Death's Dance provides 35 attack damage, 15 ability haste, and 40 armor. Its unique passive, Cauterize, causes a portion of the physical damage taken from enemy champions, 35% for melee and 15% for ranged, to be dealt as true damage over 3 seconds, with a third of the stored damage dealt each second. The Dance passive activates upon takedowns, removing the remaining true damage and healing you for 12% of your maximum health over 2 seconds. This item synergizes well with the Triumph rune, as takedowns heal you for an additional 10% of your health, further enhancing your sustain. Death's Dance is an excellent anti-one-shot option against Fed AD champions, turning a portion of physical damage into true damage over time and reducing burst impact. The healing from the Dance passive and Triumph rune, combined with Cauterize's damage mitigation, boosts your survivability. It is especially effective on melee carries, bruisers, and assassins like Jax, Riven, Aatrox, Irelia, Vi, Fiora, Pantheon, Kha'Zix, Kayn, Camille, Zed, Talon, Yasuo, Yone, and others. While Marksman can also build it against AD burst, it's most effective for champions who excel in extended close-range fights. Edge of Night provides 50 attack damage, 250 health, and a passive ability called Gouge that grants 8 armor penetration. Additionally, the Enel passive grants a spell shield that blocks the next enemy ability. Edge of Night is ideal for champions seeking both damage and survivability. Its spell shield blocks the next enemy ability, offering protection against crowd control or burst damage, making it great for engaging or escaping. The Ingenious Hunter rune reduces its cooldown, allowing for more frequent use of the spell shield. It is especially effective on AD assassins like Pyke, Zed, Talon, and Kha'Zix, as well as marksmen like Senna and Xayah, and bruisers looking for a balance of damage and durability. Serpent's Fang provides 50 attack damage, 10 ability haste, and 15 armor penetration through its stab passive. Its unique passive, Shield Reaver, reduces the effectiveness of enemy shields for 3 seconds after dealing damage, with melee champions applying a 40% shield reduction, increasing by 10% per 100 bonus AD, capped at 60%, and ranged champions applying a 25% reduction, increasing by 10% per 100 bonus AD, capped at 45%. This item is especially powerful against enemies who rely on shields for survivability, whether through abilities like those of Lulu, Set, Karma, or Volibear, or through shield items such as Maw of Malmortius, Immortal Shieldbow, Gargoyle Stoneplate, Locket Enchant, Sterak's Gage, and Eclipse. Serpent's Fang makes it easier to burst through these defenses and secure kills. For melee champions, the item's 40% shield reduction, scaling with bonus AD, is invaluable in prolonged fights against shield-heavy targets. Ranged champions benefit from a 25% reduction, which still significantly impacts shielded enemies during trades or pokes. Ideal for assassins, marksmen, and bruisers, Serpent's Fang helps break through enemy defenses and maximize damage output. Champions like Zed, Senna, Talon, Kayn, and Pyke can use this item to target shielded enemies and boost their burst potential. Pair it with high AD builds to fully capitalize on the shield penetration and take down enemies who rely on shields to absorb damage. Divine Sunderer provides 25 attack damage, 25 ability haste, and 425 health. Its unique Spellblade passive enhances your next basic attack after using an ability, dealing bonus physical damage based on the target's maximum health, 10% for melee champions, 7% for ranged champions. This attack also heals you based on the target's maximum health, 7% for melee champions, 3% for ranged champions. The bonus damage has a minimum of 125% base AD and a maximum of 225% base AD against monsters, while the healing has a minimum of 90% base AD for melee champions and 50% for ranged champions. The passive has a cooldown of 1.5 seconds after triggering. Divine Sunderer is ideal for champions who rely on both abilities and basic attacks to deal sustained damage and survive in fights. Its Spellblade passive is especially effective against tanky enemies and champions stacking health, making it a great counter to items like Heartsteel. However, it should not be built against squishy teams, as its bonus damage shines against high-health targets. Since only one Spellblade item can be active at a time, avoid building it alongside other Spellblade items like Iceborne Gauntlet, Lichbane, or Trinity Force. The cooldown of Spellblade can be reduced by the Ingenious Hunter rune, allowing for more frequent use of the bonus damage and healing. It's a strong pick for bruisers and fighters such as Aatrox, Riven, Irelia, Jax, Vi, Lee Sin, Shen, Nasus, and Mundo, as well as ability-focused marksmen like Ezreal, who often weave abilities with auto-attacks. For bruisers like Jax, Camille, Irelia, and Fiora, it can be paired with Blade of the Ruined King for added damage and dueling power. Pair Divine Sunderer with health and damage-focused items to maximize its effectiveness, targeting high-health enemies to fully leverage its bonus damage and healing potential. Spear of Shojin grants 50 attack damage, 25 ability haste, and 300 health. Its Dragon Awakening passive provides 25% ability haste and 25% bonus movement speed for 10 seconds after casting your ultimate, with the movement speed decaying over 3 seconds. Scoring a takedown during this time refreshes the effect. Additionally, the Rising Dragon passive grants a permanent 5% bonus movement speed. This item is ideal for champions who rely on their ultimate to initiate or deal significant damage in team fights. The bonus ability haste and movement speed allow for quicker follow-up actions and improved mobility, making it easier to engage, reposition, or escape. Refreshing the effect on takedowns makes it particularly effective for snowballing in extended fights. The cooldown of Spear of Shojin can also be reduced by the Ingenious Hunter rune, enabling more frequent use of its effects. Typically built as a third or fourth item after core damage or survivability items, Spear of Shojin shines on bruisers and fighters like Riven, Set, Fiora, Renekton, Hecarim, Shyvana, Kayn, Jax, Darius, and Zed, as well as ability-focused marksmen like Ezreal. It's best suited for champions who rely heavily on their ultimate to maximize their impact in fights. Avoid building it on champions whose ultimates are not a central part of their gameplay, Eclipse provides 60 attack damage, 20 ability haste, and has a unique passive called Ever Rising Moon. When you hit an enemy champion, you apply a stack that lasts 1.8 seconds, with a maximum of 1 stack per attack or ability. If you land 2 stacks on the same champion, they are consumed to deal bonus physical damage equal to 6% of the target's maximum health. Additionally, you gain a shield for 2 seconds, equal to 160 plus 40% of your bonus attack damage. The shield and damage are halved for ranged champions. The passive has a 6-second cooldown and works with basic attacks, abilities, item effects, summoner spells, crowd control, and damage over time effects. Eclipse is ideal for champions focused on burst trades and skirmishes, offering both damage and survivability. It's especially effective against health-stacking tanks and bruisers. Melee assassins and fighters like Jace, Riven, Renekton, Talon, Hecarim, Ambessa, Jax, and Fiora benefit the most. Pair it with Black Cleaver for armor shredding or Trinity Force for burst and mobility. The Ingenious Hunter rune further reduces its cooldown, allowing for more frequent use of the shield and bonus damage. Sundered Sky provides 40 attack damage, 15 ability haste, and 300 health. Its unique passive, Light Shield Strike, causes your next basic attack against a champion to critically strike for 160% damage and heal you for 140% of your base attack damage, plus 6% of your missing health. This effect has a 6-second cooldown per target. Sundered Sky is ideal for champions who excel in extended fights, such as Darius, Camille, Riven, Aatrox, Renekton, Nasus, Jax, Fiora, Vi, and similar bruisers. The guaranteed critical strike from Light Shield Strike is especially effective when your health is low, maximizing the healing. Pair it with items like Sterak's Gage, which boosts base attack damage and enhances healing. While the critical strike can be amplified by Infinity Edge, it doesn't synergize well with bruiser builds. The cooldown can be reduced by the Ingenious Hunter rune, enabling more frequent procs. In teamfights, you can auto-attack each champion once to trigger the passive, applying both damage and sustain, and take advantage of the reduced cooldown to proc it multiple times. This makes Sundered Sky a strong choice for champions who thrive in sustained combat. Titanic Hydra provides 450 health and 2 unique passives. Colossus grants bonus attack damage equal to 15 plus 2.5% of your maximum health. Cleave causes your next basic attack to deal bonus physical damage equal to 25 plus 3% of your bonus health, while also dealing 80 plus 10% of your bonus health as physical damage to enemies in a 550 range cone behind the target. These effects are halved for ranged champions and have a 1.75 second cooldown, which can be reduced with the Ingenious Hunter rune. Titanic Hydra is ideal for champions like Vi, Riven, Aatrox, Nasus, Warwick, Sion, Volibear, and other bruisers who thrive in extended fights and wave clearing. Its attack damage scales with health, and the Cleave passive adds area of effect damage, improving your ability to clear waves and deal significant damage in team fights. The item works best for melee champions, as ranged champions only gain reduced effects. Titanic Hydra synergizes well with health scaling items, converting health into attack damage. Pair it with items like Heartsteel, Sterak's Gage, and the Overgrowth rune to enhance both your damage and tankiness. Use the Cleave passive strategically to maximize your impact in fights and clear waves efficiently. Nashor's Tooth costs 3,000 gold and provides 25 ability haste and 50% attack speed, with its unique passive magic Fang granting 30 attack damage or 60 ability power adaptive. Additionally, its Gnaw passive causes basic attacks against champions to deal 15 bonus magic damage, scaling with 25% bonus AD and 25% AP. Adaptive means the item provides either attack damage or ability power, depending on the champion's primary stat. This item excels with champions who benefit from on-hit magic damage and attack speed, and it pairs well with Runnan's Hurricane, Blade of the Ruined King, and Riftmaker. Imagine your team is full AD, and the enemy is stacking armor. Building this item adds bonus magic damage on each attack, helping to bypass the enemy's armor. Ideals for champions like Kai'Sa, Varus, Teemo, Twitch, Kayle, and Ashe, along with others mentioned in the caption. To wrap things up, mastering the various physical items in Wild Rift can significantly elevate your gameplay and impact in matches. Each item provides unique benefits and strategic advantages, so selecting those that align with your champion's strengths and your team's needs is crucial. Focus on adapting your build to the flow of the game and enemy compositions to maximize your effectiveness in every fight. I hope you found this guide helpful. Stay tuned for more exciting content, and I'll see you in the next video.